in production. And we have actually announced a 100 million euro investment in the industry landscape in Germany. We are really proud that our engineers, as well as together also with our employees, that we could decide for Nuremberg to decide on a battery plant where we invest 100 million euro to scale up production by 2025 and onwards. And that makes it then possible to produce seamlessly next to actually or on the same production line in Munich where the conventional vehicles are produced, battery electric vehicles, where we have an innovative production system which actually makes it possible that the same line, at the same takt flow, we can produce combustion as well as battery electric. And why is that important? Well, if the scale-up goes faster, we don't have to scale up a small assembly line for battery vehicles only. Then actually we can run out up to, in Munich, 130, 150 trucks per day, when we fix, of course, the supply of the rest of the batteries and all the other systems. But it is about the main line, it is about this main investment, what we've done in the production capability. Furthermore, we are working hard on the next missing link. The trucks we have, the mega charging standard we have, but now we need other means. We need the electrons flowing in at the depot logistics or at the various charging stations along the highway. And this is where we call for action. We call for action towards the politics to make sure that we are paving the way for electrifying along the highways. We already take leap ahead here. We take leap ahead in a joint venture under the umbrella of TRATON Group, together with our sister brand Scania, plus also together with Volvo Group and with Daimler Group, investing in a joint venture to build up the next 5 years 1,700 charging locations around the main roads in Europe. But we need political support to do this faster, to break down bureaucracy and make sure we are getting the green electrons from the windmills, from the solar power along the highways into the trucks. This is right now the biggest challenge to tackle, and we urge the politicians to step up here. Let's make sure we don't delay here. MAN Truck and Bus have the buses, have the truck range in place. We have the concepts for mega charging. We are investing in charging locations ourselves. We need the politics to drive onwards. Let's make sure we deliver for a zero-emission future tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alexander Vlaskamp and MAN Trucks. You guys have a booth. There's more information there, and I'd encourage you to check it out. If you're joining us on the web stream, welcome. If you're joining us here for the afternoon, a warm welcome to you. Our next guest is the Niedersächsische Minister für Wirtschaft, Arbeit, Verkehr.
Our next guest is the Minister of Economy, Labor, Transport and Digitalization in Lower Saxony. We welcome Dr. Bernd Althusmann. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you in the name of the Lower Saxony, state of Lower Saxony. Here in the Lower Saxony, we have a very small sentence, which is the smallest typical Lower Saxony greeting. A small moin, which means hello. We're very glad that you're here in the IAA. in Hanover, and that we're able to have it again in Hanover. Ladies and gentlemen, Lower Saxony is a very big state. It's one of the biggest in Germany. We have 8,000, and that's why well, Lower Saxony is bigger and more than most of the states in whole of Europe. I would like to talk to you about some other things which a lot of people in the middle class are worried about. How does it go forward in the next weeks, in the next months, and the next years? To keep in mind the topic of the energy crisis and, of course, the question of the inflation. I can tell you, and what Ms. Müller today said, no one can say with safety for now of the gas in this great country of production is going to be enough for the next months, or if it's not going to be bottlenecks. The European economy, for the German economy, at least for the suppliers of the companies in Lower Saxony, it can happen that in 1 week and a half, on 1 week, the whole section of the automobile industry stays still. We will try to work on the import of the liquid gases from Wilhelmshaven and other cities. We're trying to make it safe and try to provide it here, and that's a future aspect for us. What we're planning here in the Lower Saxony to put hydrogen infrastructure, and that's why Lower Saxony will be, even in the future, a very big of importance for Germany and for economy. In Lower Saxony, we're one of the leading of the exhibitions with the IAA exhibition. We know that it's one of our most important economies here with our direct and indirect employees. We stand before very big challenges, and under the word transformation started already before Corona, and it began before the Russian war in Ukraine. And we know that this transformation is a big attack, and we have to keep in mind that we have to be prepared for the industry, and it's going to have effects on the and big effects on the industry. It's and it's one of the. We know that the automobile is one of the biggest and important suppliers and important sectors in Germany. It goes after the electrical engineering and other sectors. The logistic economy is with the manufacturer builds together for the future, and the energy suppliers is going to be for this form of the of mobility in the future, for the growth for our state, not just for the next years, but probably even more than that comes to us. Niedersachsen is considered to be a very logistic state because we have a very central location. We live into the Marx. We have areas that meet requires first markets. We have efficient transport infrastructure. And we're good connected and working on the digitalizing. And in 25, we're gonna go to the gigabyte 2030. And last but not least, we have a high level of competence and wealth experience with the companies who works in here. We have 260,000 employees in Germany, in the logistics of Lower Saxony. Since the year 2000, more than 63,000 new jobs have been created. On the other hand, you can see the importance of the volume of logistic-related investments. Both factors make a significant contribute to strengthening our business location.
Aber insbesondere natürlich auch Niedersachsen bei. Sie haben sich bei dem Thementag Future of Logistics mit drei spezifischen Herausforderungen
it makes it clear that the particular specific challenges of the future logistics is a theme today. The geopolitical challenges for logistics sectors, the relevant global supply chain solutions, which has become particularly topical. The question of the CO2 natural motorized industry will rely on the future.
Ergänzen als Mitglied im Aufsichtsrat eines nicht unmaßgeblichen Automobilherstellers. Manche sagen ja ein Mittelständler aus Niedersachsen.
Well, some say the middle class from the middle class of Niedersachsen, the biggest company, VW in Germany. The question about bringing us to the future is not just about how to build the motors and drives, but how to go logistically in the future. The digitalization and connections with the smart systems is one of the biggest challenges in the future and will be decisive for the future. And it's of course clear for us that we have to say the number one state for auto manufacturers. And it's important to make wealth and to make growth and to keep prosperity for our state. We know that transformation processes are very important. It's probably the biggest challenge for us for the next years. I'm talking about climate goals, economic and ecologic, not just work together, but they are connected together, they have to be together, and they are important for the economic development. And it's all about the alternative fuels and autonomous driving. In the logistic and in the transport sector. The pandemic and the war from Russia on Ukraine is the biggest challenges, and it's one of the biggest challenges that we met through the since the Second World War, and we know that the supply chains are in danger. And it's one of the questions that keeps us awake in the Ministry of the Transport, like how long we need and how much can we get of the supply of the energies. Such a great deal of challenges is something we didn't have in the past. And in combination together, the problems that we're facing now, we can still get the dynamic to get over those and bring us forward. And I have to be critical on one point. It's not to work just on the energy sectors, but the 99% middle state one of the greatest challenges is with the energy prices is what we have to bring down. Only that way transport and logistics it's going to be capable in the next months. If we ever are going to have in Russia a new market for production is something that we have in question, but we have to consider that the mineral prices and oils and energy is going to go up the prices. And we see how important to have a resilient energy production and, of course, a circle economy, which is bring us to other markets in the world to be more independent. And that's why we're going to make fast measures to implement the gas suppliers and the energy suppliers in Germany. I'm going to say it, we have bottlenecks in here. It's going to be more bottlenecks in the delivering and more raw materials is going to be it's going to have to be recycled in the battery, in the charging protection, and we can bring around 90% of the raw materials, which is a good start for us. We need stable supply chains. We've seen how the production and the missing production of the cables in the Ukraine, how it, and the semiconductors meet us in the last months. The industries has already started to look for solutions independently to bring us, and they trying to develop and work on research and to focus on other products and other aspects to go to the fuel switching. And we stand before bureaucratic measurements. We have to work as fast as possible and to provide as fast as possible the means to make this transformation. Our standing strong in face of the crisis and to keep the deliverers in the site, in our site, is one of the most important themes for our manufacturers in our situation, and it has a value on it. We have to work for innovation and for the life-changing decisions and life-changing steps. Usually it's for a long time nothing happens, and then you can't avoid or you can't miss the point where the change comes at once. It's a good time to start again for after 2 years in pandemic, but the war put new challenges on us. And to be prepared for now, even with the challenges are so big, we have to invest, not to stand still. And that's what we discussed in the parliament in the last years. In Lower Saxony, I say, luckily, people are investing in a generous manner. To have strategical dialogues, which we had already started years ago, we have some forms for the deliverers, which we can implement for the manufacturers and for the companies here. And with 40 million euros, is a fund we can put to the suppliers, which allows them to take more credit for the banks. And another thing that we had is an accelerator for the startups in Braunschweig. And with 5 million euros, and it's we aim to accelerate establishment and development of high-tech companies to support innovation and thus promote course process into the long term. And we commissioned this one and try to make new products and bring new forms of support. We had shown a lot of growth in the last years. We never thought in the last years that this will stop in the 90s. But what we see, what we live in the time of the great growth is done, but it's not done. We might have to live with some shortage in the next year, but the industry will be standing there and face of the challenges and to react in the same manners and in strong manners. In the USA, I want to talk about something I've seen in the USA. I want to share it. And my vision for Germany and how to provide it with different sectors that we have, with the flying industry, with the other industries that we have here in Lower Saxony. And the thing that I stand in my Kopf, it's a strong culture of failure there. There's no shame in that if you have the courage to get up afterwards. Albert Einstein summed it up twice. Two things are required at works: tireless perseverance and willingness to throw away something that has been taking a lot of time and work. And the second one is problems can never be solved with the same mindset that created them. He was right. Let us look positively to the future despite all of our challenges. To have the courage and to have the ideas and the changes for the future. I want to tell you at the next IAA, in the next exhibition, that in the year 2022 we put the right technologies and we take the right steps. We, as industrial representatives, have to wait for the politics and for the lawmakers, for the state of Lower Saxony and the challenges and the competition that we have in the next years. It's connected to it. I wish all of you interesting ideas, new ideas for the future in this exhibition in Germany. Thank you for your listening.
Vielen Dank, Minister Althusmann, für diese klaren Wörter. Welcome back if you're just joining us. Welcome if you're joining on the live stream. We are continuing on here on the main stage with the future of logistics. I'm very pleased to introduce our next guest. He is the CEO of Iveco Group for powertrains, heavy-duty transport, batteries, hydrogen, and biofuels. That's the topic of the talk today. Please